Here we go. This is for voice. This will be at 210 words per minute, and it is a court case, and it's 15 minutes long. I am plaintiff counsel, Mr. Erickson.
I am the witness.
I am the court.
I am Mr. Lucero for defense.
And it begins with the court.
15.
Yeah.
The court for the record. What is your estimate? What does it actually cost this young lady per? I realize it's impossible because she's living in the home, but do you have any type of ballpark figure?
We haven't broken it down. I think that if you took items such as food, obviously her portion is going to be roughly a third. Items like utilities are going to be about the same regardless of whether she's living there or not. The same would be true for transportation and most of the other expenses. She's contributing $25 per week from her part-time jobs, $25 per week, which is being used to help give the younger girl spending money.
So you're asking for an increase?
Increase based on the support schedule, which would show child support in a range of $350 to $390 per month for the one child, and spousal support in the range of $70 to $130 per month. And spousal support could last a maximum length of time to July of 1985.
Is that the same limit on the spousal? Did I read here that the spousal was only reserved until that time?
It was only reserved until that time. That's correct.
All right. Did you wish to cross-examine?
Yes.
At this time, I'll offer the medical report of Dr. Franklin Rumor into evidence.
We have admitted it by stipulation. Yes, Your Honor. Could we have both parties sworn, Your Honor?
One other thing, there is a 2-page copy of the medical bills from Dr. Rumor.
Would you take the witness stand, please?
Please state your full name.
Marie LaCroix,
What is your current address?
1291 Columbus Drive, Milpitas.
I'm sorry.
1291 Columbus Drive, Milpitas.
All right. What is your rent on that home?
My rent is $180.06, and that does not include taxes or any other.
Back in 1979, was that the amount that you were paying on that house?
Yes, I was.
There has been no change there?
No.
You were in 1979 earning approximately $6,400 gross. Is that correct?
Yes, I was.
And you are currently earning about $25,000 gross. Is that correct?
Yes.
And would you tell us what your expenses were back in 1979?
They're right there on that sheet. I really don't have them in mind.
Well, do you recall how much you were spending for food at that time?
No.
In your income and expense statement you prepared for this hearing, you indicate that you are spending approximately $150 for clothing per month. Is that correct?
That's for the children and myself.
Pardon me?
That's for the children and myself, if that's what it states.
And then under your installments, you have capitals and you have clothing and miscellaneous $100 per month. Is that correct?
Yes, because Mr. LaCroix did not take any bills when he moved out, so I still have to continue to pay those credit cards.
And Macy's, you have clothing, $25 a month.
That's the same. It's not just clothing, it's miscellaneous items.
And you have listed here clothing at Mervyn's, your clothing another $60 a month. Is that correct?
Does it say clothing? I just said credit cards.
So if we add 125 and 60, that's 195 plus 185 plus 150 that you have got here. That is about $335 a month that you're spending for clothing, although you don't list it as clothing. You said that your daughter, Norma, is working at 2 places. Is that correct?
Yes,
How many hours does she work at Avantech?
40 hours at Avtech.
And then in addition to that, she works for Mervyn's. Is that correct?
Yes.
How many hours does she work at Mervyn's?
On Friday, she works 3 to 4 hours. On Saturday, she works 3 to 4 hours. And if they give her time on Sunday, yes.
So she works approximately 48 hours to perhaps 52 hours a week.
Yes.
And do you charge her room and board for living at home?
It's not room and board. It's 25 that she contributes to the minor child, because the minor child, she feels, is never seen by her father and taken out by her father. So therefore, she feels that she's obligated in giving some entertainment to that child.
So she doesn't help you with the food or rent, PG&E, telephone, transportation, any of those costs. Is that correct?
She has to provide her own transportation, fix her own car, and provide her own gas. And she has also additional expenses, like when she goes out, buys food.
So you're in essence saying that she doesn't contribute to any of those expenses.
To her car expenses?
The food, housing, PG&E, telephone, transportation, and those expenses.
Well, transportation is included in her expenses, and she buys her own food when she wants, and she also pays her own telephone bill. But they are not paying her $7 or $8 an hour, just minimum wage.
Okay, your attorney said that the girls had to go Your daughter had to go to Dr. Rumor for treatment twice weekly at $90 per session. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How long have they been doing that?
Since Dr. Mack, the family physician, required that the girls get psychiatric treatment or counseling because they have had ulcers, well, the younger one.
Give me a date, please.
I don't have the date right now, but I have it in my purse. My girl has it.
Give me a month.
I have no idea.
You don't know when they started?
No, I don't.
I think the medical bills admitted into evidence would show the date treated started.
Your Honor, I would prefer to cross-examine the witness to see what she knows, what she has said.
Fine, proceed.
Okay, that was 5 minutes at 2:10. Now we're going to continue on, and we're going to do the full remaining 10 minutes. Let's start on page 11, line 16. Question by Mr. Lucero.
Still 15.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Lucero for the record. Ms. LaCroix, your attorney also said that these conditions that the girls are now experiencing were as a result of a damaging relationship they have had with the father and that are alleged to have taken place in '79 or before that period.
Are you talking about the molestation that took place?
Whatever the damaging relationship was.
It was discovered about around 1980, somewhere around there.
All right, and did you then go with the children to treatment of any kind?
Yes, we did, but the girls found it they didn't like it there because they weren't getting the right treatment.
Now, did you at that time have medical insurance coverage for that particular treatment?
Parents United did not charge. It was on a donation, and Mr. LaCroix sought help through his psychiatrist for her. And he had told the girl, because she has completely had no interest in school, she was very depressed.
Mrs. LaCroix, did you seek treatment? I'm sorry. Did you have coverage for treatment through the medical insurance provided by either your employer or Mr. LaCroix's employment?
Yes, we did.
You didn't utilize that?
Yes, we did.
And how long did you utilize that treatment?
It was utilized as much as the girls wanted to go, but they found it too much pressure to continuing to seek treatment because of the lady that was handling them. And at one time, one of these psychiatrists or psychologists, Mr. LaCroix, told my girl that she was going there for her education to get ahead and to get her. It wasn't like that, and that's why the girl refused to go. She got very upset and said, "He lied to me. I won't continue this."
Who lied to her?
Mr. LaCroix.
Because he said that the treatment was for the purpose of enabling her to straighten herself out, get better grades?
Get herself, well, it was supposed to be a tutor type, and it wasn't a tutor type.
Now, you currently have insurance through your employment, is that correct?
Yes.
And it covers the children, is that correct?
It won't cover the girl anymore because she isn't a full-time student.
It covers the younger child, Tanya?
Yes, it does.
And Mr. LaCroix also has insurance for psychiatric treatment, does he not?
Yes, he does.
And in December of 1980, did you and Mr. LaCroix resume living together after you had obtained an interlocutory decree of divorce that Mr. Erickson referred to earlier?
We agreed to live together under conditional terms.
Did you live together, however?
Objection, it's irrelevant. What does it have to do with the present circumstances and the need for support?
Overruled. You may answer.
Did you live together?
Living together as what? Cohabitating or just sleeping together?
Did you live together?
Yes, we did.
And that continued on for 2.5 years, is that correct, until August of 1983?
Somewhere around that time.
And during that time, did you have the children attend the treatment programs that you are interested in now?
I did not, because this was a no-no in the house with Mr. LaCroix. The subject was never supposed to come up in the house.
Now, weren't you at that time also going to Parents United for psychiatric treatment or psychiatric therapy?
He went for a little while. After he got off probation, his probation officer told him he didn't have to continue, so Mr. LaCroix pulled out right away. I have asked Mr. LaCroix to attend counseling, and he has refused to.
Now, the allegations that you brought up in court today were over 5 years ago, is that correct?
If you're talking about what happened 5 years ago, yes, but the ulcer is just, the girl has been sick with stomach problems, and they finally diagnosed her as having ulcers, and the doctor feels very strongly that it is because of what happened.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to that last statement as non-responsive to my question. I asked...
Object to the question. There is just no relevance. Also, he's asking for opinion testimony, and Mrs. LaCroix here is not a medical expert. She doesn't know when the problems occurred. She doesn't really know if there is a problem now. All she knows is the doctor said they have a problem.
I'll strike the last comment.
Are you currently cohabitating with anybody?
No, I'm not.
And have you been within the last 6 months?
No.
Mrs. LaCroix, you have indicated in your financial statement that you are paying $200 to the credit union. Have you not in the front of the income declaration statement that those are deductions? Did you read the income and expense statement that you signed?
Yes, but okay, are you talking about the IBM credit union?
I don't know what credit union. I have here an income and expense document that you filed.
Why don't you show her the document?
Is it a deduction? Let me show you a copy of it. I thought you might have read it.
Counsel, you can ask her briefly, but it's not going to be greatly material.
Let me withdraw the question then. I think the court will get a look at it anyway.
Sure.
I note that the numbers we have used have also discounted that $200. We give a $1,500 net income figure, Your Honor.
Is it your position here today, Mrs. LaCroix, that you are asking for an increase in or a payment of spousal support because you have less income than you had back in '79, when you merely had the court to reserve that right to ask for spousal support?
Objection argumentative.
Overruled. You may answer.
Could you repeat that, please?
I'm not sure I can, but I'll try. Let me rephrase it. What is that basis on which you are asking for spousal support here today?
Why am I asking for spousal?
Why do you want alimony?
Why?
Yes.
Because before he moved out, he had said that we needed a car. Okay, fine.
When did he move out?
What is the basic reason?
Because I need it.
Good answer.
I have no further questions.
Anything further?
Yes, Your Honor. Do you know if your daughter Norma has any change in mind in her employment plans?
Objection. I'm going to object to that question as calling for speculation.
Overruled.
Do you know whether she has any plans to change her current employment?
Well, it's not whether she has plans or not. It's just a temporary job.
So her current employment situation is not going to remain intact in the future?
No, it's not.
Do you know when it will change?
She was hired temporary for about 3 or 4 months. That's it.
And how much time remains on that 3 or 4 months?
Maybe about 2 months.
Does Mr. LaCroix have any visitation that he exercises with the 2 children?
No, he's
Irrelevant.
Sustained.
If I argue, Your Honor, I feel it is relevant as far as the need for support. If he is exercising visitation, spent time with the children, spent money on them, it would relieve Mrs. LaCroix of some of the obligation she has for the support.
If he had visitation, isn't that going to be about the same?
During the time period between 1979 and 1983, were either of the children seeing a psychiatrist therapist for counseling?
only Norma was.
During what time period did Norma see someone?
I believe it was about 82, somewhere around there,
For what period of time?
for a few months.
No further questions.
You may step down, ma'am. Thank you very much. Mr. Lucero, do you wish to present an offer of proof?
Your Honor, the offer of proof is that we wish to offer the income and expense statement prepared for Mr. LaCroix as true and correct. It sets forth his current income and expenses, and I'm not sure that we have anything else to add to that at this point.
Thank you, sir.
No cross-examination, Your Honor.
Is the matter submitted?
Yes, submitted on evidence, but will yield to the petitioner.
Just one point to make, Your Honor. I think it's important to note that in this situation, we had agreed upon a support order of $175 per month per child with the reservation of spousal support, which was not necessary, was not based on a contested hearing at that time. The case of marriage of Thomas, Thomas, a 1981 case found at 120 Cal App 3rd, page 33, provides that when child support is based upon an agreement, the court may modify it subsequently without making a finding of changed circumstances. And it's just not necessary for us to show any changed circumstances, which is why, with respect to child support, we feel that the support schedule should be as follows, and support should be somewhere between $350 to $400 per month. Also, it should be noted that there's a policy, I think, in this court statewide that when there are 2 children, normally you have a higher support order for the younger child and a lower support order for the older child. We have a case where there's no longer an order in effect because one child has turned 18, so that the current order for the younger child is artificially low.
Mr. Lucero?
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, with respect to the child support, there was an order for 2 children, $175 each. And Mrs. LaCroix wishes the court to believe that the older child is working part-time, but on cross-examination is working approximately 48 to 52 hours a week. I submit that is full-time. And if she doesn't wish to ask her for any contribution to the household, that's her business. But he shouldn't be asked to pay spousal support under the guise of she's making $6,400 back in '79. She's now making $25,000. I think it's ridiculous that she comes in asking for spousal support if she has increased her spending by 4 times. That's her business. But she is able to get along on much less and should be able to get along on much less before she can come into this court and ask for spousal of Mr. LaCroix. I would indicate that there is a great deal of Their premises that the girls need treatment. There's insurance. I think that the $175 he's paying is adequate, and I submit it.
I don't see any reason to increase the spousal, but I will increase the child support to $375, retroactive to the date filed February 1st. One child, $375, retroactive to the date filed February 1st. Now, the husband will be ordered to pay any uninsured bills to the psychiatrist. I gather they're $180.
A portion of that may be insured, Your Honor.
After it's been submitted to the insurance company, only the uninsured portion. It will be up to you to submit it first. Sir, do you have any insurance?
Yes, he does have.
You are covered by insurance?
Would that be for ongoing treatment also?
Yes, ongoing treatment until the child.
Each party to bear their own attorney's fees.
I think the law provides if there is a modification, the court shall order payment of fees and costs.
The income this lady enjoys is unusual. It seems to me that she has to show a need, and she artificially is withholding paying her attorney and comes in and says, I haven't paid anything. But she has the ability. There's no need shown. I ask the court to have both parties bear their own attorney's fees.
What's your fee?
Your Honor, I will estimate that up to this moment, I spent approximately 5.5 years in this proceeding in addition to the costs that I've already disclosed.
What is the fee?
The fee is reasonable, $500 plus actual costs.
I'll make an order on account of fees. I believe a partial order only. I'm not limiting your fee. A partial order of $350 plus the costs. The balance will be between you and your client. I will release the evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Who will prepare the order?
I will prepare the order. Different material, slower material, and we're going to use this for readback. I am Mr. Manning for the prosecution.
I am the witness.
I am the court.
I am attorney for defense, Mr. Iredale.
We're starting up at the top, and I believe that's probably Mr. Manning. Line 2 on the record for readback. Did you get shot and then start running
When they shot me, yes.
at any time? Did you go on the ground?
Yes.
At what point did you go to the ground?
When they hit me.
When you got hit with the bullet?
Yes.
How long did you stay on the ground?
Well, I don't remember, but for a very small moment only.
And then what did you do?
When I stood up, I run.
When you went to the ground, did you hear any other gunshots?
Yes.
Do you know how many gunshots you heard?
Well, I didn't have the chance to count them, but they were many.
Did you see Servando after the gunshots started?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
After you got shot and went to the ground, did you see Servando anywhere?
Well, I didn't see him because I got crazy and ran away with the shot.
Which direction did you begin to run?
Up to my right, up the hill.
When you were running, did you hear any gunshots?
Yes.
When you were running, did you hear any voices?
Yes.
Could you hear what anyone was saying?
No.
Could you tell us where you ran to? What you did while you were running?
When I run,
Right.
I was throwing up blood.
Were you able to feel any injury in your mouth
Yes.
while you were running? Did you see Servando?
No, when I reached the house, we met.
After you started running, do you know what happened to the Cherokee?
No.
When the shooting began, do you know where Mateo was?
Yes.
Where was Mateo?
On the wheel of the car. He was driving.
The Cherokee?
Yes.
Now, when you met Servando near the house, were you bleeding?
Yes.
Showing you People's Exhibit 27 for identification, showing you the photograph, that is 27B, the one I'm pointing to. Do you recognize what is shown in that picture?
Yes.
What does that picture show?
That is the house where I got to.
Is this where you met Servando?
A little bit in front of the house.
Did you and Servando approach the house together?
Yes.
Before going into the house,
I would object. There is no testimony that they went into the house, and in fact, they did not.
Sustained.
before approaching the house, did you speak with Servando?
Yes.
Showing you photograph 27C, do you recognize what is shown in the photograph, the reddish item that I'm pointing to?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Well, I didn't even know what it was. I pulled it out of my mouth and threw it.
When you took it out of your mouth, what did you do with it?
I gave it to Servando. I think I gave it to him or I threw it.
You don't remember?
I think I told him it was the bullet and I gave it to him, but it was a bone.
Was it the bullet?
No, it was bone.
It was bone?
I thought it was the bullet.
When you and Servando were at the back of the house, what did you next do?
When we reached the house,
When you reached the house, what did you and Servando do?
we told the lady to lend us the phone so that we could make a phone call.
Do you remember the police coming to the lady's house?
Yes,
Before the police arrived, did you speak to Servando?
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna take a look at that. Are we back? Okay, now we're repeating this a little bit faster. This will be warm up for what will be a 12-minute 200. Let's read this in 14s, please. And again, I'm Mr. Manning for the prosecution.
I am the witness.
I am the court.
I am attorney for defense, Mr. Iredale.
Mr. Manning starts on the record. When you went to the ground, did you hear any other gunshots?
Yes.
Do you know how many gunshots you heard?
Well, I didn't have the chance to count them, but there were many.
Did you see Servando after the gunshots started?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
After you got shot and went to the ground, did you see Servando anywhere?
Well, I didn't see him because I got crazy and ran away with the shot.
Which direction did you begin to run?
Up to my right, up the hill.
When you were running, did you hear any gunshots?
Yes.
When you were running, did you hear any voices?
Yes.
Could you hear what anyone was saying?
No.
Could you tell where you ran to, what you did while you were running?
When I run,
Right.
I was throwing up blood.
Were you able to feel any injury in your mouth?
Yes.
While you were running, did you see Servando?
No, when I reached the house we met.
After you started running, did you know what happened to the Cherokee?
No.
When the shooting began, do you know where Mateo was?
Yes.
Where was Mateo?
On the wheel of the car he was driving.
The Cherokee?
Yes.
Now, when you met Servando near the house, were you bleeding?
Yes.
Showing you People's Exhibit 27 for identification, showing you the photograph that is 27B. The one I'm pointing to, do you recognize what is shown in that picture?
Yes.
What does that picture show?
That is the house where I got to.
Is this where you met Servando?
A little bit in front of the house.
Did you and Servando approach the house together?
Yes.
Before going into the house?
I would object. There is no testimony that they went into the house, and in fact, they did not.
Sustained.
Before approaching the house, did you speak with Servando?
Yes.
Showing you photograph 27C, do you recognize what is shown in that photograph, the reddish item that I'm pointing to?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Well, I didn't even know what it was. I pulled it out of my mouth and threw it.
When you took it out of your mouth, what did you do with it?
I gave it to Servando. I think I gave it to him or I threw it.
You don't remember?
I think I told him it was the bullet and I gave it to him, but it was a bone.
It was the bullet?
No, it was bone.
It was bone?
I thought it was the bullet.
When you and Servando were at the back of the house, what did you next do?
When we reached the house,
When you reached the house, what did you and Servando do?
we told the lady to lend us the phone so that we could make a phone call.
Do you remember the police coming to the lady's house?
Yes.
Before the police arrived, did you speak to Servando?
Yes.
And before the police arrived, did you know what had happened to Mateo?
No.
After using the lady's phone, did you know that the police were going to arrive?
Yes.
What did you tell Servando?
To say that he was my friend.
Why did you tell Servando to tell the police that he was your friend and not your brother?
Because I didn't want him to have any problems.
Did you tell Servando anything else?
I don't remember.
Where did you go from the house? You were at the house, and then where did you go?
From which house?
From the house where you and Servando called the police.
Well, I sat on the sidewalk. I sat on the side of the sidewalk and the police picked me up.
Did you go to the hospital?
Yes.
The police took you to the hospital?
The ambulance.
Did you tell the police what had happened at that time?
No, I don't know that I heard some shooting.
Did you tell Servando not to say anything to the police?
I object. The question is leading.
Yes. Sustained.
Did you and Servando talk about what you would tell the police?
Objection leading.
Overruled. You may answer yes or no.
Yes.
What did you tell Servando?
If they asked him what was my name, that my name was Carlos Ruiz.
I want to take you back to when the shots were being fired. At that time, you were urinating. Do you know whether the door to the Cherokee, the front passenger door, Do you know whether it was open or closed?
I don't remember very well.
Do you know whether the rear passenger door to the Cherokee, do you know whether that was open or closed?
Well, I didn't pay attention because when I got out, I just started to urinate.
Do you know what year the Cherokee is?
I thought it was like 2006 or 2005. I don't know.
Do you know how much mileage was on it?
No.
Now, when you were at the hospital, what happened to you at the hospital?
Well, when I came back, I had surgery. They had taken the bullet out.
Do you have any scars from the surgery?
Yes.
Do you have any scars on your face?
Yes. Also in my stomach.
Where is the scar on your face?
Right here and here.
The witness is pointing to the right jawline area. With the court's permission, could the witness walk down past the jury and walk back to show the area where the scar is?
Yes, he can just stand there by your table. That is sufficient, Mr. Manning.
Very good.
To which side should I turn?
If you could approach the area at the front of the table here and stand in the position that I'm at and just point to the area where the scar is.
Turn a
Stop.
little bit.
Okay, that's it for this recording. We're going to now do a 12-minute take.